That was the most unserious, unhinged, completely insane hockey game I have ever watched. And the Dallas Stars win 7-6 over the San Jose Sharks. That's all I have.
Your Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan and play-by-play voice of the Chippewa Steel. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. What the actual heck did I just witness last night in a 7-6 overtime victory for the Dallas Stars? I had a whole rant prepared. I was ready to just come on today's episode and lose my mind. And now I don't know how to react. That was incredible. All I can do is laugh. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining us today on Locked On Stars. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Please let me know how you reacted to last night's victory. What did I just witness? Completely unhinged and unserious play from the Dallas Stars. And yes, they won and picked up a full 2 points. Deservedly? I don't know. I really don't. Incredible. The Stars forced to score 3 goals in the final 7 minutes of the hockey game to force the game to overtime, and Rope Hintz buries the winner in 3-on-3, and the Stars are victorious. Holy cow, by the way. Wyatt Johnston and Logan Stankoven. Wyatt Johnston, his first career hat trick. Stankoven with a couple of goals and an assist. Should have had his hattie in the overtime period, but unable to find it. Wyatt Johnston and Logan Stankoven have combined for 9 goals, 7 assists, 16 points in 6 games together. And Pete DeBoer had the audacity to break them up during stretches of last night's game. But I will give him credit. He put them back together when they needed a spark. And this is another thing. Why is it the 21-year-old that has played the majority of the season in the American Hockey League the one providing the spark? Can you please tell me why? He's the one drawing penalties. He's the one forechecking hard, back-checking his tail off to make plays, to get in front of the net, to make things happen. Why is it him? I want to say I'm very, very happy he's playing for the Dallas Stars. But good night. You should not need 7 goals against the San Jose Sharks. But I have a hard time being extremely upset because they should have gotten nothing out of the contest. And in typical Dallas Stars fashion, they found a way. They found a way. Miro Heiskanen, 4-point night. And he wasn't darling in this one either. Wyatt Johnston, a 4-point night. Stankoven, a 4-point night. And the Stars win 7-6. Completely and utterly unserious hockey was played in California yesterday. Wyatt Johnston, 5 points. 7.30 game score. Yeah, that was the highest amongst the National Hockey League last night. Logan Stankoven, 7.21 game score. Jamie Benn, a 5.75 game score. That trio was the only trio that was doing anything with some sort of consistency last night. Jamie Benn got the scoring started on the power play. Good to see him get on the score sheet for that one. And then it was the Johnston and Stankoven show. They played over 17 minutes together, and it was glorious. And frankly, they probably should be playing together constantly. We move on to Chris Tanev. Looked very good. He looked just fine. And for how poor the defense was, Chris Tanev actually, I thought, shined pretty bright. He was +1 at some point during the game. I think he was only on the ice for 1 goal, and it wasn't his assignment. He was fairly good in the contest. Why? When you bring in Chris Tanev, though, the whole reason is to break up Lindell and Hakanpaa because they are slow, they are immobile, and they really struggle on defensive zone exits. Do you put Ryan Suter with Jani Hakanpaa? Could have told you that was going to blow up in your face. Come on. Really? Hakanpaa with Suter? Deeply unserious. And look, it's Chris Tanev's first game. They're going to work out some kinks. I don't know where you land, how you get to that conclusion. Ryan Suter and Jani Hakanpaa. And Suter wasn't terrible. Okay. He wasn't as worse as Hakanpaa, is how I will put it. He wasn't as worse as Hakanpaa, who was completely lost for most parts of the game. And the Stars win. They couldn't match the energy that San Jose was playing with until the last 10 minutes of the hockey game. San Jose was quicker. Yes, the Stars had a ton of shots, outshot them 20-6 in the first period, but most of it was from outside the tops of the circles. They were really never testing the San Jose netminder. And San Jose capitalized on glorious opportunities. Otter stunk, by the way. He stunk, but at the same time, the Stars stunk just as badly in front of him. Just embarrassing. The defensive zone coverage, missed assignments left and right, nobody picking up, marking anybody in a black jersey, and it's a shooting gallery from the hash marks in on Ottinger. Completely embarrassing defensive effort. Completely embarrassing. And once again, why is Ryan Suter with Jani Hakanpaa? I'm okay if you want to choose Jani Hakanpaa over Niels Lundqvist. I can live with that. But not when you pair him with Ryan Suter. It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense. Lundqvist and him have had a good thing going recently. They've really improved together. I don't understand where you get to that conclusion. I really don't. I really don't. And Harley and Heiskanen were spectacular, but not great. They cost the Stars a few goals in the game, but they were a reason they won too. Let's not sugarcoat it. I mean, Heiskanen had 4 points, and yeah, a couple of the assists were lucky bounces off the end wall. But he was creating. He was trying. There was effort to try to make something happen, and they had to. That was the problem. They were chasing the entire game. They were forced to chase, and it felt like they walked into the game like, yeah, we're gonna blow this team out, and then they're getting overzealous. They're getting caught up the ice. They're tracking back to their own net I mean constantly, for large portions of the game. And San Jose made them pay. They played really well. Credit to the San Jose Sharks. They have played the Stars very, very well these past 2 games. And unfortunately, for their sake, they did not pick up a total of 4 points because, to be completely honest, they at least deserve, they deserve 3 of them. They deserve 3 points because they should have won. They should have won, but they became deeply unserious, just as much unserious late in that hockey game. And I'm completely flip-flopping stances from the Saturday game when we talked about it on Monday, where who cares? 2 points is 2 points. I'm not thrilled about what transpired in the tank last night. I'm really not. But I can't help but laugh at what happened. 3 goals in the final 7 minutes, and then you win it in overtime. 7-6. And as I mentioned, I was ready to come on here and just completely light this team ablaze. I was going to light them a new one. And I'm really speechless. I'm speechless. But at the same time, I am thrilled because Winnipeg lost last night. The Kraken defeated Winnipeg. They did Dallas a favor, and the Stars almost choked it away. Almost choked it away. And they pulled through. They pulled through. And they head to Anaheim on Friday. Those are all of my thoughts from last night. Please let me know yours in the comments. I know you will. I know you already went down there and are firing away on the keyboard. But I'm just this segment, I had to just let it all out because there are so many different avenues and emotions I went through that transpired in 3 hours. And the Stars win. The Stars win 7-6 in overtime against the San Jose Sharks. An incredible comeback. It was spurred on by Logan Stankoven. He is brilliant. He is brilliant, and I love him. And I hope he never leaves. Let's celebrate him in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Sleeper. It's almost the halfway point in the season, and regardless of where the Stars are in the current standings, they're first place in the Central Division. By the way, I want to remind you, you can win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our #1 choice for daily fantasy sports, and especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. And all you have to do is pick the studs of the Dallas Stars, Wyatt Johnston and Logan Stankoven. As long as they're paired together, they will light up the National Hockey League. You can pick more or less on certain Sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus minus, or more in a given game, Stars fans. And you can win 100 times your bet on Sleeper if you correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me correctly, Stars fans. 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and with location availability. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is also brought to you by Robinhood. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA, available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, is a registered broker-dealer. Okay, we move on to Stanky. Logan Stankoven continues to be a spark, a lightning rod for this Dallas Stars team, and he's just such a complete player. He does it all. He does it all. I am so infatuated with what he does every night. He is obviously highly talented offensively, but what really gets my jollies is his defensive zone work. Back in the second period, when the Stars had a defenseman without a stick and he's pressuring Addison at the blue line, he forces him out to center because of his great stick position, and he allows the Stars to work in a change and reset. Those are the type of moments that really get me going. And then when he has the chance to dazzle offensively with a couple of goals and a couple of assists, it's just the icing on the cake. And him and Johnston are just unreal together. And as I mentioned, they were separated at one point during the night, which I completely lost my mind with how great of chemistry they had. And then he comes out in the third period and kaboom, they combine for a couple of big tallies and they get the job done. Stankoven, a couple of goals, his first career multi-goal night in the National Hockey League. He breaks another franchise record by scoring that many goals in just 6 career games, and he's lived up to every inclination that we thought he was going to be. It's really hard to do that, and he's overexceeded them, I think, for a lot of people, and we knew he was going to be good, but this is something. This is something he's putting together. And it's just 6 games. It's just 6 games. But holy moly, is he fun to watch. And he's the reason they won the game. He truthfully is the reason they won the game. He drew the first 2 penalties that the Stars scored on the power play. The only reason they came out of the first period, knotted at 2. And he's the reason they came back. He scored the 4th goal of the game off a turnover from San Jose. He drives in. He gets the puck on his forehand. Yes, a bit of a fortunate bounce off of the netminder, and it finds the back of the net, just trickles through. And then he goes to work. Goes to work on the forecheck right after that goal. Johnston gets a fortunate bounce. It ramps up the blocker of Heiskanen and then ends up in the back of the net. And then they get the job done. They get the job done late with the help of Wyatt Johnston once again on a fortunate bounce. Big shout out to Jamie Benn too with a couple of assists on the night. Can't forget about his efforts. He's played his best hockey of the season since Stankoven got called up. And that's not a coincidence. Stankoven makes others better, not the other way around. Stankoven makes Jamie Benn better. Stankoven and Wyatt Johnston, now that's a conversation. Who knows who makes who better? I think it's both. I think they both make each other better because they're just so connected. And they were the only trio that was connected in yesterday's game consistently, because Joe had a really rough night. Pavelski, Robertson did not have a phenomenal night either. A lot of guys just had weird nights, but Stankoven shows up time and time again and is the best player on the ice besides Wyatt Johnston. He's the second best player on the ice. Second best player on the ice. Wyatt Johnston, by the way, a 5-point night. The youngest player in franchise history to have 5 points in a game. Youngest player to record a 5-point game in franchise history. First in Dallas history with multiple 20-goal seasons before the age of 21. And he kind of outshined Stankoven in the game, but don't get it twisted. Stankoven won this hockey game for the Dallas Stars. Johnston finished it off. He made sure it happened. He made sure Stankoven's efforts didn't go to waste, is how I'll put it. Wow. I'm truthfully so speechless on today's episode. I'm doing my best to just allow my thoughts to flow here, but I have so many emotions right now, and I have so many thoughts that I feel are going to be very hard to express right now, because I'm coming down from a high of winning the game, of the Stars winning. It's going to take me a few days, I think, to parse through all of this. And that's what's great about this, about Locked On Stars. We're here for you every day. So I'll be here tomorrow on Thursday, and I'll see you again on Friday. And we're going to parse through all of this. We must talk about the defensive pairings, though. I know I already alluded to it at the top of today's episode. Maybe this is where my rant comes in again, and we'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Indeed. Indeed is a wonderful hiring platform. No matter how the last game went, by the way, Stars fans, you need to recruit more MVPs with Indeed. If you're hiring, you need Indeed, because Indeed is the hiring partner where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. And Indeed is the only job site where you're guaranteed to find quality applicants that meet your must-have requirements, or else you don't pay. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites hoping to find candidates with the right skills, you need one powerful hiring partner that can help you do it all. Indeed partners with you on every step of the hiring process. Find great talent through time-saving tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. With Indeed Instant Match, as soon as you sponsor a post, you get a short list of quality candidates with resumes on Indeed that match your job description, and you can invite them to apply right away. Plus, you only pay for quality applicants that meet your must-have requirements. Start hiring right now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job at Indeed.com/lockedon. Offer valid through March 31st to the end of the month. Stars fans, go to Indeed.com/lockedon to claim your $75 credit before March 31st. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. You need to hire. You need Indeed. Hey, Stars fans, be sure to check out Locked On Sports Today, the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day. Be sure to follow Locked On Stars. Hit that notification bell. Never miss an episode of Locked On Stars. Follow us on Twitter, the X thing. Joey the Jet 19 is my personal account if you want to see some of the things I'm flinging out there. And I was going through an emotional roller coaster during last night's game, as I'm sure many of you were last night. And I said it already. I'm going to give Pete DeBoer a grace period here. I will give him grace, but I never want to see Ryan Suter with Jani Hakanpaa ever again. I don't want to see it. should have never happened to begin with, and it was a disaster, and it doesn't need to happen. Put Chris Tanev with Thomas Harley or Miro Heiskanen. I don't care at this point. Get one of them on their strong side. Ideally, I would love to see Miro on his strong side. You can put Harley with Lindell. You can put Harley with Suter for all I care. I don't know, but anything is better than what we witnessed last night. And Tanev and Lindell were fine. They truly were. I thought they were probably they were probably the best defensive pairing of the night, and that's not saying much for what we saw, because Miro and Harley had to be hyper aggressive because the Stars were chasing the entire game. They couldn't be as defensively responsible as you would have liked in the game. But I thought Tanev and Lindell was fine. I really do. But I think you need to split Miro and Harley, spread the wealth around. I would love to get Miro on a strong side, and you can pair whoever you want together after that. But no Lindell or Hakanpaa, no Hakanpaa and Suter, no reason for it. And I don't have much to gripe about in terms of penalty kill. Look, Chris Tanev just arrived that day. They're not going to throw him on special teams and throw him into the fire. But ideally, I would like to see Tanev and Lindell or Tanev and Hakanpaa on the PK at some point, because Chris Tanev is a very valuable asset on the penalty kill. But I understand that. He's just getting thrown into the fire. Just let him play 5-on-5. And your special teams, which have been decent this season, you can figure it out for one night. And, well, they really didn't, since they surrendered 2 power play goals. But they washed that out with a couple power play goals themselves. Expected goals against, I would love to see that for some of the pairings, or at least defensemen. Lindell, 1.6, excuse me, 0.42 expected goals against. And Chris Tanev was at 0.49, and Lindell was at 0.42, which is very, very decent. I think that's third and fourth best amongst Stars defensemen. So a good night for them. I mean, when the Stars had 5 put on him, I think Tanev was a 0, a goose egg in the plus-minus column. He hadn't been on the ice for many of them, and the one goal he gave up was a complete missed assignment by Ty Dellandrea. But it must change. It must change. That defensive, and it's not even effort. It's not effort. That defensive display just can't happen. That's going to cost you in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It'll be the death of the Dallas Stars. And it's one game. And I'm really trying not to get caught up in what transpired, because the Stars have played a ton of hockey, and that's not them, so to speak. But they have shown that can happen at points throughout the season. And it makes you really nervous in a win or go home type of situation like we saw last spring, and you completely throw up a dud. And Dallas cannot afford that. You brought Tanev in to fix those issues. And again, it's his first game. I'm really trying not to overreact here. That was probably an anomaly for the entire season. But at the same time, these issues are deep-rooted from the Stars. This is their issue, and they will live and die by it unless it gets fixed. And it's a combination of course, being better in your defensive zone, and Jake Oettinger has to be better. He should never give up 6 goals. He should never give up 6 goals. And The play in front of him was atrocious, but he needs to make some big saves. He needs to make a few stops here and there to stop the bleeding, and he couldn't stop the bleeding. And the Stars couldn't stop the bleeding. And it did not come back to haunt them. It did not come back to haunt them. It didn't. But it should have. It should have. Because you're not going to score 3 goals in the final 7 minutes of a hockey game and in a against a good team, I'll say. Against the Stanley Cup contender. Against a team that's really serious. And the Stars weren't very serious at points during last night. And that's where I'm going to leave you today. It's really late recording this after the episode, or after the game, excuse me. And my entire brain is fried. I'm just befuddled. So that's where we're gonna leave off. And we're gonna pick it back up tomorrow. We're gonna pick it back up tomorrow on Thursday. And maybe I'll have a more fine-tuned version of my thoughts that we can talk about. We'll celebrate Johnston and Stankoven, who are obviously the only 2 players that the Stars need moving forward. And we'll keep rocking along. Does not change the fact what an incredible win that was last night. Completely incredible. Oh, sometimes I want to sit on here for 30 minutes and just laugh into the mic, because that's my reaction. My true reaction to everything. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, Stars fans. Please just light up the comment section. You can vent. You can be super excited. You can be super annoyed and irritated. I think we're all feeling a little bit of everything. We'll see you tomorrow. You have a great rest of your day. Stars move on to Anaheim. The West Coast trip continues. And that'll do it for today's episode. So long, Stars fans.